In jazz, they almost say there's never any mistakes. Everyone has an equal opportunity to have their heart touched by music. And once we have a confirmed event, it's just like a tree. Once you have roots, you can grow branches.
So welcome to the Digital Empowerment Podcast. My name is Kieran Connolly, and today I'm joined by Rick. So Rick, over to you. You wouldn't mind introducing yourself to the audience?
Sure. Thank you so much. I'm so glad to, be talking with you in Ireland. My podcasts are from varied places. I never know where it's going to be, but I'm so delighted for Ireland today. My name is Rick DeLaRatta. I'm the founder of Jazz for Peace. And we started on the morning of 9/11 just because I happened to witness those events from less than a quarter of a mile away on a rooftop of the building, of my apartment building. So it started out as a poem, and it turned into a whole bunch of things, which included a benefit concert series that's helped over 850 of the world's most outstanding causes, instrument donation programs for children and adults, and an education series to bring music back into the schools. And we just keep on evolving with all kinds of interesting, fascinating things. And we've taken tragedy and turned it into, I don't know, something that you might say is hopefully the complete opposite.
Incredible, amazing. And music is the cornerstone of everything then?
Yes, it's all centers around, it's the music really is what got us everywhere. I was pretty far along in my own career when that happened. So I was able to utilize where I had gotten career-wise to say, hey, this is who I am and this is what I've done. And I want to try this. I want to help outstanding causes. I want to do this. I want to do that. We did actually present myself to the United Nations, saying I wanted to bring, multicultural group into the United Nations and do something that showed how we can get along, from any corner. And that band had Palestinian, Israeli and American musicians in that band. So that event started to get more and more traction as we went along. And now, people really do reference that, from all around the world as an important cultural event of our time.
Totally very apt for today. And again, I've been lucky enough to experience some of what you've done through your YouTube channel. So we see some great content there as well. You're going to do a little bit of music for us today as well?
I am. I was telling you, I play something on every podcast. And what I do is I turn something into jazz that's just a song that our volunteers like. And there were two songs recommended by volunteers, very different from each other. One is a pop song by Chicago, from the pop band Chicago. And the other one is an old song by Charlie Chaplin called Smile that was sung by people like Nat King Cole and Dorothy and the Wizard of Oz. That woman, I forgot her name, but that great actress and singer. She also, numerous people in that era. And I was trying to say, could you pick one? So I'm going to try to see if I can play both of them and put some jazz in the middle, and hopefully you make everybody happy, right? Maybe I'll send a tip jar around. Okay, so here we go. This one I've never played before, so I'm just winging it. So let's see what happens. Everybody needs a little time away. Heard her say from each other. Even lovers need a holiday. Far away from each other. And it's hard for me to say I'm sorry. I just want you to stay. After all that we've been through, I will make it up to you. I promised you. And after all that's been said and done, you're just the part of me I can't let go. said and done. You're just the part of me I can't let go. Smile though your heart is achy. Smile even though it's breaking. When there are clouds in the sky, you'll get by. If you smile through your fear and sorrow, smile and maybe tomorrow you'll see the sun come shining through for you. Lights up your face with gladness, hide every trace of sadness. Although a tear may be ever so near, that's the time you must keep on trying. Smile, what's the use of crying? You'll find that life is still worthwhile if you just smile.
Wow. That's amazing. I wasn't expecting that today, so thank you very much. And I love the way you did. I put you on the spot, go from one song to the next. So absolutely amazing. So they're two very different songs then.
Hey, I would have never thought of it. So you definitely inspired that rendition. Yeah, I would have never come up with that idea on my own. But hey, it's very interesting. Yeah, definitely
Wow.
takes you through. It takes you through three different, completely different styles of music, actually. So that's quite a fascinating little medley there.
Incredible. Well, thank you again. You've made my day. So brilliant. So if I ask then, how have you been able to use music to help with all the changes, social causes that you're really passionate about?
Well, what's really great is that you can always find common ground through the music. It's just such an extraordinary thread. And I had known this before, before 9/11, because I had traveled all over the world and was, astounded at how music, it's really, it's an even playing field when it comes to music. I mean, even I used to play in bands that would play in like the streets or the subways when I first came to New York. And I noticed that It wouldn't matter if a person was homeless or if a person was driving by in a limousine. Everyone has an equal opportunity to have their heart touched by music and to show a part of them in their empathetic or their interest or their fascination, whatever it is. Their reaction to music shows you something about them, and it usually shows you something good. It shows you something that humane. When I'm playing something that's deep and complicated and I see someone grasping it, I know so much more about that person now than I would have known. I could probably talk to them for 3 hours and I wouldn't know what I know just from seeing their understanding of what I'm doing or their ability to relate to it you know so it's an amazing opportunity, I think, to our 20 some years now, that could possibly launch us to our next goal, which would be to convince the world to fund peace at 1% from 0%. From 0 to 1. Because here we are at 100% war, and honestly, peace is still winning in a lot of areas. I mean, we did a poll, a Jazz for Peace poll, on our peace proposal, for a situation going on in the Middle East that we all know about, and we received 90%, 96% funding for that. 96% support for that. So imagine, and that's at 0%. With 100% in the other direction. So if we could go from 0 to 1 with the funding of peace, I just think our world would just be, it could be amazing. The good things that could come of that.
Incredible. No, and with you in every step of the way in that. What keeps you motivated and passionate after so many years? I can see it just bursting through.
Well, what it is that you look around and you see all these issues and problems, but then because I'm in the arts and culture, and because now Jazz for Peace has shown another step forward in peace by helping outstanding causes, all of a sudden you see solutions, and you also see other people who, like you, who are looking at, yeah, that makes sense to me too. And you know what? It's hard not to get passionate when I see the solution myself, and then I see other people's excitement about the possibility.
Yeah, incredible. What's been some of the biggest challenges then you faced over the years with Jazz for Peace?
There's all kinds of challenges, but a lot of them are growing opportunities, because, there's no shortage of heartbreak. You see some of these problems where, like even the one I was talking about, I hate to say it. I mean, here we are with a solution, but if it was only implemented, and it's heartbreaking to see so many people come out and support for what we do, and yet it not have it actually be implemented, So you see these kinds of things. But at the same time, a lot of times it's a learning situation, because we, at the end of the day, we all have to look ourselves in the mirror and say, did I do what I wanted to do today? Or did I do what, I thought maybe in society's mind was going to, make, what I mean? So a lot of times you have to come to the conclusion that, well, wait a minute here. I don't think I would trade, I would love to be a billionaire or whatever, but I wouldn't it would have to be in addition, not in as a replacement. You know what I mean? In addition, not in, yeah. So as an addition, that's great. But I guess you could say my heart's been broken by not having things added, but I wouldn't subtract what I have to get them.
Wonderful. Excellent. If you could change one thing around, I guess, people, society, businesses' approach to charity, then what would it be?
One thing I would like to see is people, right now we have a concern about technology, replacing jobs and taking jobs and changing people's lives. And it's scaring people about the changes in our life. But, what if we took the funds that are being generated by these technological advances and then use those funds to tap into everyone's dreams to make our world a better place, which I believe, I know that we have, because in the 850 outstanding causes that we've helped, we've met people that the only difference between them and the other people is that the other person was not able to formalize that dream. They just thought it was a dream, What about making them, what about, hey, giving them a chance and saying, what do you see? What would be your passion? Usually things that people are passionate about, you find they're actually great ideas and they're really helpful. They just look at them too far away because, oh my God, I've got to go to this job for 8 hours and I'm going to be so tired when I get home. And then the wife and kids, but what if, since they don't have to go to the job anyway because of technology, now maybe we can take those funds that are earned and maybe we could get the people to solve the people's problems. There's so many problems out there. There's no shortage of them. We just need to tap into this opportunity that technology might be giving us.
Very exciting opportunity. Let's hope they come through. As you say, it'll change society, hopefully for the better. Have you seen much change then with digital technology in how you've worked with Jazz for Peace and in the charity sector?
Again, there are huge possibilities. One of them is, the blockchain is something that is substantial. People didn't know what it was. I learned from a person who I kind of, I knew he was a very smart person a while back. He said, hey, this blockchain is something that a lot can be done with. Well, with the blockchain, you could actually create, a currency that is specifically is for philanthropy, which would then see, because a lot of people get the trickle down economy works great for some. Unfortunately, for people that are really trying to do good, they have to spend so much time trying to fundraise to get any of that money to trickle down. A trickle up economy for philanthropy could actually be created using the blockchain and having those rules where if you did X, A, B, and C, then you could be released fund that would legitimize you to receive the funds to then trickle up. And now you could have something that you create an equilibrium by having a trickle down economy, but having another economy that's trickle up for philanthropic purposes to balance it out, So I do see extraordinary opportunities. And another extraordinary opportunity I'm hoping someday would be to get Jazz for Peace over to Ireland, because we've been to so many places. We've been to, people talk about how we've been to Africa 9 times and someone talking about a 10th time. But, so if it was a soccer game, Ireland wouldn't be doing so well. So I'd like to see you guys catch up and at least maybe get one event in Ireland would be great, because I'd love to see the country as well.
For sure, I need to get that on the list, for sure. So just again, for anyone listening, tell us a little bit more about what Jazz for Peace does and how you help people.
So, what we do is we basically have, it's called an empowerment grant, and it's shaped after a tree. Almost to the right of you, it looks like there's a green kind of a tree. If that is a tree, that's what we are modeling our entire fundraising, it's our model is basically shaped after a tree, and we have the roots. And what we do with the roots is we unite the supporters of an outstanding cause through the opportunity that Jazz for Peace presents. We get all the supporters on board, and then we try to see if some of those supporters will help us expand your donor base and your fan base by also promoting this event to some of their friends, family, supporters, to get them on board. That expands the donor base for the organization. And that's like a VIP setup for those people. So they get, all of the things from the sponsors and all that. And they really got a great time. And they should, because we're bringing them in again to strengthen the supporters you have and then and expand that donor base. From there, we're utilize that to confirm the event. And once we have a confirmed event, it's just like a tree. Once you have roots, you can grow branches. So by this thing that I just showed you, we're able to get the event confirmed. Now we have a date. Now we have, Jazz for Peace is definitely coming. We have everything we need. And now we can get things like local business sponsors for this event. Again, those local business sponsors are going to come to that VIP room as well and meet everyone. And hopefully year after year, continue to support that cause. And on up we go with the other branches, publicity and awareness, on the local level, on the national level, on the international level, new and prestigious supporters, and all kinds of these little branches. There's actually 7 of them in total. And at the end of it, some are going to grow big, some are going to grow small. We don't know what's happened, but the important thing is we go through the steps and see. And of course, you're going to get a unique tree, because it'll never be the same exact thing as just like a tree is. All trees are unique. There's no twins in the tree world. I've never seen a twin tree. They're always something's different. So that's the case with each event. They're unique. They're the flavor of that cause that we're helping anyway. They kind of represent what they're all about. And at the end of the day, our hope is that you are more publicized, you are more befriended, you are more prestigious, you are more sponsored, and you are better funded than ever before. And if we've done that, or at least as much of that as possible, we know we've given you a helpful step forward. And that is ultimately the goal, a helpful step forward, helping you get from where you are now closer to where you need to be.
Oh, incredible. And again, I know a lot of charities are more focused on how they can fund themselves for the years ahead, because definitely money has been tight over the last number of years and could be harder to find. So they do need to be creative.
Yeah.
Incredible.
Well, yeah, and these branches are great because they are sustainable. They keep going. Do you know what I mean? So again, when the sponsors for this Jazz for Peace event, we've been told by many of them, we actually, we actually ask people, don't even listen to us. Go to, it's called jazzforpeace.wordpress.com/about. And it's just a page where you can scroll down and actually just see the words. And you'll see them telling us, hey, we were writing you to let you know that that event you did 3 years ago, those people are still sponsoring us today, things like that. And so that's how we know those branches are working for people year in, year out.
Incredible. And you've built an incredible brand online. I see loads of content and very easy to find, and you share a lot of advice. What advice would you give to a charity that's trying to succeed in the digital world?
Well, one idea I have is this new book, just because this book, Paving the Path for Peace Music, we made sure we put little things in it in strategic areas. So let's say somebody does have this book and they contact us and they want to work with Jazz for Peace. We can refer to those pages at the right time, because what most people do, and I know this isn't specifically digital, but it's just in general, a lot of people are overwhelmed by, they look at a big project and they look at everything all at once. You know what I mean? And I'll tell you, if you're like, if you talk to any classical musician, if they're learning a piece of music, they'll be like, no, I'm just working on one measure, and then I put another, I one step at a time. And when you do something one step at a time, that's how you can, that's how you can really, and so that's what we do with the book. Specifically digital, we do use the medium for cyber. We've actually done some cyber events, and I've made some cyber appearances. So I would actually encourage some people that are watching, that will watch this, to contact us, and we'll talk about how we've used cyber appearances to our advantage, to your advantage or their advantage. I did one just a couple weeks ago in London where, they contacted me and they said, hey, we can't, obviously, this is coming up so fast, we can't do the whole, but is there some way that we could work with you again, in a digital way, in a virtual way? And what they did was they just pulled one of those big, screens down in the middle of their program, and just in I came, and I was able to address, what they wanted to do and perform.
Incredible. Excellent. And how do you stay so creative and innovative then in your combining of music and the work in charity?
One thing I do, it's a little bit like improvising. In jazz, they almost say there's never any mistakes. So you can play something and then play off that, and then wait a minute, because I notice in the world, if you don't do it that way, you could easily get frustrated, because most of what we try doesn't actually work in the way that we're trying it, because we look at society and we say, okay, let's try this. That looks like it's going to fit into society. And boy, what a crazy idea that turned out to be. But because of that little mistake, that note that we played. So in other words, I would almost advise people, play the note, make the mistake, but then play the next note that comes after it, because it's the note that comes after that mistake that puts you in this rarefied air of something new, of something creative, of something interesting. So that's kind of what I would say, almost like a musician, because, we'll start out like, well, when I was playing, I don't know what I played, because, we'll hear it when we hear it back, but probably I hit something and I was like, whoa, what was that? And then I accepted that sound, and then I was able to go to another. Well, I don't know what that was, but it can lead me to this. And I think that's where the creativity comes into play in life as well.
Incredible. What's been one of the most impactful events that you, or moments in Jazz for Peace's history?
You know, there are so many. We've actually had entire podcasts just about one event. You know, one that I tell a lot. I just tell this a lot because I think it resonates with people who are, again, looking at a big picture. You know, I once had, well, I've had a lot of concerts in LA, but one of the concerts in LA was for a woman who wanted to address bullying in the schools. And her school program had nothing to address bullying in the schools, and her son was the one getting bullied. So she started the organization. So the mother starts an organization to address bullying in the schools, contacts Jazz for Peace. And I mean, she's basically got nothing. You know, she's got no history, nothing. She's literally on life support. How are we going to help this woman? Well, we followed the steps with her. We did what we did. And we did everything we could. You know what I mean? I went out there with a big saxophone. I brought it on the carry-on to donate to the school from our instrument donation program. I put a great band together because LA has these great musicians that, you know, are played on these great records and stuff. And I did all these things. And when I got back, I was like, Jesus, you know, did I really do enough? Did I get enough sponsors? Did I do it? And I'm looking only at the tree things, right? Well, a letter comes in, and you know, we're looking at our volunteers and we're like, oh boy, here it goes. Here's the moment of truth. We're going to open this letter. And I'm already bracing myself. It's probably going to say, you know, thank you. So, you know, that nice try is probably what's going to say, you know, thank you so much. You know, it was a nice try. Because, you know, it wasn't like the Red Cross that has all this, you know, 85 years of, you know what I mean? Just the woman, it's just her and a couple of board members. Anyway, we did, you know, it was a good event. But anyway, the letter is what the point I'm trying to make is with the letter. The letter wasn't about sponsors. The letter wasn't about how much funds were raised or weren't raised or whatever. It wasn't about the issue. It wasn't. The letter was about her son, and what a transformation we had on her son, who was, you know, she was worried about suicide at one point, and now she feels like the whole experience might have been a good thing because her son just couldn't believe that, you know, this, of course, according to the son, you know, some big deal. A favor, you know, I'd come all the way out there just for him, and we would play, and we would, you know, so he just couldn't believe that all these people would care about him. And she said he was transformed. So you could not tell me something better than that, you know, from any event, really. I mean, to actually help you know what I mean? I mean, that's what it's all about, isn't it? I mean, that's what it's all about. I mean, I'll give up every sponsor in the world for a result like that. You see what I mean? So that's my point. Sometimes we so easily miss the big picture, as I was missing, you know, before she kind of, you know, gave me the news that, you know, I couldn't have possibly, I couldn't have possibly done better than if I made up the story myself, I couldn't have made it better. And
incredible. And I totally echo that. It's touching the individuals that maybe are hidden in the corner and you don't always see the impact you're having. So what a great story. Do you see social media being a big part of your efforts to raise awareness for and funds for your causes?
I think it can be, you know, a lot of people have mentioned the importance actually of podcasts, which is relatively new. You know, it didn't really like go into its own until around the pandemic or whatever. But now, you know, people know that there is alternatives out there, and they can, you know, the only concern is that we're so flooded with so much information. Sometimes, you know, people can get lost in the, you know, in the clutter. But I think people now realize, you know, that there are resources out there where you can connect with people who, again, really do care about you. A lot of people think that people don't care about them, but as soon as you connect your passion with their passion, guess what? They do care. And then you'll find out that they are humane and care about you as well. But, you know, there's common ground, and all we have to do is embrace it instead of the opposite.
What message would you like to leave any of our listeners who are passionate about making a difference in their own community?
One great thing to do, if in doubt at all, or even if you're not in doubt, anyone can contact us. And I mean anyone, because a lot of the reasons, if you ever look at our history and see some of the places we've been, people are like, how the heck did you end up in Pakistan? How did you end up in Rwanda? They just can't believe it. And the reason being is because anybody can contact us. So you can write us a letter and you can say the craziest thing like, I don't think you'd be interested in what I'm doing, and tell us what you're doing. And you'd be surprised. We're probably interested. And that's how it happened. We just kept responding and we just keep working with people who contact us until we find, where it happens and where it fits. So I would say to people, you have Jazz for Peace at any time. So you can always contact us, but try to find people, again, like Jazz for Peace, who are, going to take an interest in your interest to make our world better. I think we need all the help we can get. So I think we need you guys. To you guys, to us are golden nuggets.
I love it. Brilliant. And how can anyone reach you then? Where's the best place for them to go?
Well, a great place is just our email address, which is info@jazzforpeace.org. That's INFO at jazz, the word FOR, JAZZFORPEACE.org. But if you want to just, have some fun on the internet, you can do things like type in my name, Rick DellaRatta, famous quote, because, if you, for some reason or other, right around 9/11, I was interviewed and I said something in the interview off the top of my head, it became a famous quote, and then maybe that leads you somewhere else, Well, we have, you like Spotify. We actually have the Jazz for Peace podcast. You could type in that. And of course, like I said, YouTube and the usual suspects, you should be able to find us. As you mentioned in the beginning, you were able to find out a lot of stuff, right?
For sure. Loads of, and what we do is we make sure we have links to everything underneath this video. Rick, thank you very much for your time. Thank you for making this so special and introducing music. First ever in my life I had that experience, so thank you very much. And we'll talk again, I'm sure.
Good. Looking forward to it. It was a great time, and thank you so much for your interest and enthusiasm.
Brilliant. Thank you. Can anyone reach you then? Where's the best place for them to go?
Well, a great place is just our email address, which is info@jazzforpeace.org. That's INFO at jazz, the word FOR, JAZZFORPEACE.org. But if you want to just, have some fun on the internet, you can do things like type in my name, Rick DellaRatta, famous quote, because, if you, for some reason or other, right around 9/11, I was interviewed and I said something in the interview off the top of my head, it became a famous quote, and then maybe that leads you somewhere else, Well, we have, you like Spotify. We actually have the Jazz for Peace podcast. You could type in that. And of course, like I said, YouTube and the usual suspects, you should be able to find us. As you mentioned in the beginning, you were able to find out a lot of stuff, right?
For sure. Loads of, and what we do is we make sure we have links to everything underneath this video. Rick, thank you very much for your time. Thank you for making this so special and introducing music. First ever in my life I had that experience, so thank you very much. And we'll talk again, I'm sure.
Good. Looking forward to it. It was a great time, and thank you so much for your interest and enthusiasm.
Brilliant. Thank you.